I'm here with my friend Pat, and where we are today is we're in Davis Bay, and where we're standing by is Chapman Creek. And as I had said in our quick little earlier vid, that Chapman Creek was actually called Mission Creek, and sometimes in the 50s or 60s it got renamed. We're going to tell you a couple other really cool facts about old history about Davis Bay, and one of them is there was a large ocean liner from the Union steamship called the Lady Cecilia ran aground on this Davis Bay spit. One other really quick little history fact about Davis Bay is Davis Bay was actually called Wilson Creek, and Wilson Creek went from Wilson Creek right over to the mountainside where you start to go up the hill at the end of Davis Bay. Wow, I just love this park we got here in Davis Bay. I heard it was donated by a family. Just an incredible gift. Anyhow, this is Chapman Creek. As I said, I think it was Chapman Creek up in, like in the 1950s, but until then it was known as Mission Creek. And Mission Creek Bridge was just up the road. Another history fact about Mission Creek is Mission Creek, its estuaries went almost all the way over to where the Canadian Tire is today. That whole area was a salmon bearing area. They've channeled the creek out into the ocean. They've reclaimed all the land over there. Actually, when you're driving on the road over the bridge there, you're actually kind of driving on a dike for a while. And all that land in behind there has been reclaimed. They've done for the salmon is there is a hatchery upstream here, and they will raise farm or hatchery fish and release them into the creek to help make up for the estuaries being destroyed. So that's another cool fact. Okay, so like I said, there was some really cool old history about Davis Bay or Wilson Creek. And what went down 100 years ago is kind of amazing. And it's all about how men move mountains. So anyway, we're going to go over to the park, this Brookman Park, and we're going to sit down and tell you there's some really cool old history about it. So come on, I'm excited to tell you. Wow, Brookman Park, what a park. It's just incredible. Like I said, I believe it was donated by a family. What a great gift to our community. And if you look around, you'll see there's apple trees, and there's their house they've donated. There's trails. Takes you down to this great beach, Davis Bay Beach, just incredible. A quick little history fact about Davis Bay and the beach is one of the local logging companies would take their cat down here, and they would actually plow all the rocks off Davis Bay Beach and plow them towards that creek to help divert the water out. And at the same time, they created this incredible sandbar. That sandbar has been eaten back over the years by the rocks coming back, but there's still nice little sandy beaches, sandy areas all through this little park area. Okay, yeah, we're talking about a lot of really neat old history facts about Wilson Creek, Davis Bay area. But one old cool history fact that I want to share with you is at one time from Davis Bay right over to Mission Creek or Chapman Creek was actually a mountain of sand. It went right from the shore, and right from the shore was sand and a mountain of it and trees all through it. Helen McCall has some great photos of the mountain and of the pier. Back in the 30s, like I said, that pier was called the Wilson Creek Pier. We now know it as Davis Bay Pier. But she has some great photos of that back in the time when there was a mountain there. So over the years, they brought barges in, put them right up on the beach, and at first they wheelbarrowed in the sand into the barges and took them away by tug. Then they brought in equipment, and then over 20 or 30 years, they took a mountain of sand away from Davis Bay in Wilson Creek area, and away it went on barges. They basically moved a mountain of sand. So wherever you see this Brookman Park, where you see the wobbly canoe, Pier 17, all those homes in there, all that flat area, that is because they moved all that sand and they just kept moving up the side of the mountain, and eventually over the time they started building houses. And now having a mountain of sand there, you've got all these flat areas that sort of layer their way up that have different homes at different layers up the side of the mountain. So when you're driving through Wilson Creek in Davis Bay, what you're actually driving through was a mountain of sand and trees. So it's a cool history fact. I wanted to share that with you. Okay, just before we wind up here for the day, I'm going to throw in one more kind of neat little history fact about Davis Bay, its pier, and all the little piers that we still have along our coastline. And the only reason, in a lot of cases, why we still have these piers is because they were where the fuel barges would come in, tie up, and there was little fuel tank farms all over the coast. An example is right here in Davis Bay. There are like in Langdale, Gibson's, wherever there's a little pier. Usually the only reason it's there is because they were still put in service for delivering fuel to the tank farms. All the tank farms are gone now. All the fuel comes up to the coast. And luckily these old little government pier wharfs are being rebuilt and used. And again, just another great part of living on the West Coast. So that's another little tidbit of a cool little fact about wharfs and Davis Bay, Wilson Creek. That's all for today. We're going to bring you some other cool history facts. So I hope you enjoyed this. See you later. Yeehaw! Yeehaw!